that 10 of us have been in Thailand for 15 days, and we got back Thursday morning. I think it was 48 hours of travel. It might have been a record. It was 2 12-hour layovers. That's intense, guys. We were zombies. We actually could not wake Sunshine up in the airport. She's in the airport sleeping on chairs, and I was like, Sunshine, wake up. Sunshine, Sunshine, Sunshine. I'm literally shaking her, and I'm like, we're getting onto the plane, honey. Wake up. She's, what? Okay. And literally she just kind of stands up, and we put backpacks on her, and she just like wanders towards the plane. We're here. Yay. How many of you team members are you still waking up at 1 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning? Yeah, because your body's like, it's 3 in the afternoon. Wake up. Yeah. So we're really glad to be here, and we want to share with you, take significant time during the service to share testimonies. It was an outstanding trip, outstanding, and really for like a group missions trip of this type, not house of prayer focused, but more evangelistic outreach focused. It was probably one of the best trips I've ever been part of. Our team was outstanding, and there were 5 teenagers and 5 adults, and God was just with us. And we were a blessing everywhere we went. I say that as glory to God because that's what we were praying for, was to be a blessing. And truly, we were a blessing. And odd things would happen. People would come up and say, your team is so different than other teams. And I'm like, really? They're like, your team is such a blessing. I'm like, thank you, God. So I want to give opportunity. I'm going to do a slideshow here in a little bit, but I want to give opportunity for a few people to share highlights of things that they did on the trip. Or things that God showed them. And so let's start with Nay, because Nay is going to be down in Kingdom Kids serving. Let's give him a hand clap. In youth group, we say things like this. What do we do when people do hard things? We support them wildly. Like, woo! Nay, tell us about Thailand.
Well, Thailand was actually a great place, and I'm glad that I went there. I thank my mom because she's the one that encouraged me to go on the Thailand trip. Yeah. Our team was such a blessing that we like opened up so many doors, and like in one of the villages, like there's this woman, I don't remember her name, but like
Their names.
Yeah.
They're different names.
But she's like the leader of the village.
Leader.
Yeah, the village leader, and. We just like opened up a door to her, like most of the.
You're doing great. Tell that story.
Sorry. This woman never usually like opens up to like people to entering her house, but she let our team into her house, and it was actually a great time because we just like did so many things. Like we shared the gospel in the village, and that was a touching moment for me. Usually I'm stubborn and all of that, but God just like opened up something new for me also. And it was very touching because I'm just happy that God changed the way how I communicate with others, and that how he just like shows me opportunities. And I've actually wanted this for a long time because most of the time I have social anxiety, and I just want to thank God for doing that. Yeah. And another thing is that in the village daycare, I was just like sitting off to the side. I didn't know what to do for the children, so I decided to like make a flower crown, and you might see it on the slide. I don't know for sure. Yeah. But that was my first time ever making a flower crown, though. It's made out of vines and flowers, and I just want to thank God for like giving me the gift of creativity, and that was a great time. And I gave it to this little girl, and it just filled me with so much joy. It made me happy, and usually I don't show much emotions, but this was like the actual time I actually showed my real emotions. I wasn't like pretending or anything like that. yeah, it filled me up with so much joy that another thing is that we also did like this singing thing with the children, and that was a great time too. And I love dancing, all of that, but it was such a great time. And usually I don't show people my that I actually dance, but now y'all know. Yeah, yeah, everyone has secrets, but yeah. And then another thing is that like playing with the children at the school actually like touched my heart so much, and the the children's home was it's a wonderful time. It was fun shopping with them and just like singing with them and like praying for them, and it just broke my heart that some of the children don't have like families to like go back to because they passed away or something bad happened to them, and it was yeah. But anyways, it was a great time there, and it really opened up doors. Like the villages were like so opened up that we got to pray to about like almost all of the villagers, and like it just like touched our hearts so much. And there's so much like pastors and like second pastor and like helpers for the pastor in this one village. And it was so great how these people like just like loved God, and even if they didn't know God, they just trusted us to like share the gospel with them, and it was a very touching moment. And yeah, trying to remember what else happened. Uh, that's all I can remember, but yeah.
That was awesome. Great job, Nay. Great job. And if you're in Kingdom Kids, you can line up in the back. Thank you, Nay. Thank you, Brian. So we did a lot of we were in a lot of places in the north of Thailand and did a variety of ministry. So we were like, for instance, we did a lot with children. We were at a school, an orphanage. We were in some villages doing like house to house ministry, like literally evangelizing house to house. So those are some of the things that Nay was talking about. When we go to a village, we'd have to get permission from the village leader, and we'll talk more about what happened. But there was some really huge miracles. Brianna, do you want to come up and share? It was so fun to have Brianna with us, an experienced missionary who's actually been through YWAM training, and we're so glad you jumped in on the trip.
Hello. I do have to say, this is probably my favorite missions trip I've been on. It was just very much so serving people and loving on people. I think probably for me, the biggest thing that impacted me while I was on the trip was like I knew I wanted to adopt someday because the kids need homes, right? But we went to this children's home. Was there like 14 or 14 kids in this children's home? And I just remember being in there and like, I'm not going to lie, I struggle with empathy sometimes. Like I can feel bad for somebody, but like it doesn't emotionally like hit me. And I remember being in there and I'm like sitting there watching all these kids that like, they have 2 women that stay in there to take care of them, but they don't have a mom and a dad. They don't have people that they can like go to and they're like, I'm proud of you, or like, I love you. And I just remembered like struggling not to cry. I'm like, these children don't have stability and they don't have like what we're all supposed to have and like what I was blessed with. Like I have amazing parents. And I just started to get hit with this like overwhelming, like I believe it was God's heart because like again, I don't cry for other people normally. And like just like overwhelming like sadness that they don't have that, and it just really like made it concrete that like I need to be somewhere that kids can go and be safe, and like to a point where I'm like, everyone else, please pray, ask the Lord, because they need homes and they need people to love them. And so, but one thing on that, as hard as it was to see these 15 or 14 kids in this place, like where they didn't have parents, they were the lucky ones. Like they had a actually pretty like stable place to be. And so I'm also very thankful that there are people out there that are willing to like live with 15 kids and be like mothers to them and take care of them. And that just showed me that like God really is out there watching out for his little ones. And yeah, so that was a big one for me, just to see like that and how much he loves them. And I think my favorite thing about that was when we got to take them to like the market and get them an outfit, and how excited these little kids were for shoes and like stuff that we get all the time. And so yeah, it was just really cool to see those kids and love on them. But yeah,
That was awesome. It was really fun. It's a really outstanding children's home, and it's attached to the school that the YWAM base runs in northern China, or northern Thailand, I'm sorry. North of Chiang Mai is what I was thinking. And so on the base where there's a school, there's also a children's home for those that at the end of the day, they have no one to go home to. And so they actually live there, and they really take really good care of them, really, really care for them well. But our team got to like spend daily extra time with these kids. It was really special, and take them shopping, which they had never picked out their own clothes before. I mean, they really never hardly ever leave the base because their school is there, their house is there. And so it was really a treat for them to leave the base. And then we got them like boba, that's like a shake, basically. Got them boba tea, and they each got to pick out a new outfit, and every person was assigned a child, and we shopped with our child. It was really fun in the open market, and we didn't lose anybody. We almost picked up an extra child accidentally. We're like, this one is not an orphan. Where is the parent? Somewhere in the market, a parent has lost their child. We always laughed about that. We never lost anyone. We almost picked up extras. Patty, do you want to come and share? And then we'll have Isaiah come after that.
Like you've all heard, it was an amazing trip. There were so many things that I could share about. I just shout out to the 5 teens that were on the trip. They did so good. They were like so mature, and they were prayer warriors, and they participated just like an adult would on the trip. They were like just as important, integral part of the team as any of the adults were. They comported themselves super well. Our team actually got along really well. We weren't really like squabbling with each other or anything. We were pretty bound together. The thing that impacted me the most was this place called the Orange Farms. And it is what it sounds like. It's orange trees, literally farms, and they're harvesting oranges. But the people that are there are refugees. They are running across the border with literally the clothes on their back, and because the Burmese army is shooting at them, trying to kill them or conscript them. So they come with nothing, and Thailand lets them in, but they have no power to get a job, like a good job. They don't have citizenship or anything like that. So they're basically kind of work as slave labor at these orange farms, and they live there in conditions that are not good. I don't even think that they had doors like on some of their rooms. They had curtains to shut their little room, and then they had like a common kitchen, which was open. But we went there, and they prepared some snacks for us, and we shared snacks with them and talked to them, got to know their stories. They got to know our stories, shared the gospel with them. Brianna shared her testimony, and I really think that like opened some things up. Her testimony was really powerful, and I think people connected to that because they had walked through similar things that Brianna had, and I think that built a bridge. And then there was some spiritual warfare. Like there was a couple of people that looked like they were going to cause trouble, and we prayed over that. And And we started to share the gospel, and they got a little antsy and started to get up and move around and manifest a little bit because they didn't want to hear about Jesus. But then we prayed through it, and Chad got up and grabbed his guitar, and we started to worship, and that like split the heavens open. And people that actually had walked away came back, and they were like gathering around, like all around. And then it seems like after we worshiped and praised God with them, that we had favor again, and we were able to talk to them, So I feel like that really made inroads. Like I think in their hearts, like they're more open to the gospel now because we were there, because we worshiped, because we shared our experiences. And yeah, honestly, out of all the ministry that we did, and we had some great ones, I would do that one again and again and again. I wish we could have gone back like every day to see those people. It was a good thing. That's what I got. Right. I just like for somebody consistent. Yeah. Yeah. And what were we, Chad? We were like, we rode in the back of the truck. We were Corinne Space Cowboys because we were going up the mountain and there was like an edge there. And like Isaiah took about that much air. I'll let you tell that story. But like the people inside the truck, they wanted to be included to be space cowboys, but they were cushion cowboys is what they were.
So yeah, that was great, Patty. I think the air conditioner. So we went everywhere. There was 12 of us, 10 of us on our team, plus our two Thai leaders, who were from the YWAM base. So there was 12 of us in one pickup everywhere, all over northern Thailand. 6 people in the back of the pickup on benches, and there's a covered thing over it, like a covered thing. And then 5 people inside the pickup. No, 6. 6. It was 6 and 6 because we got to have a little more space, and then Seike and Chad caught up with us and arrived, and then it went 6 on the inside, 6 in the back, and luggage on top of the pickup cover thing. The luggage was thrown up there in a tarp, wrapped around and strapped on, and we made it everywhere. We never died. It was good. Isaiah, why don't you come and share with us? It was such a blessing to have Isaiah with us. Isaiah just graduated from high school. Isaiah, we did children's ministry from the beginning to the end, and one of my favorite things they would say is, that was fun, and I don't like kids. Over and over and over again. I liked that, and I don't even like children.
So I really enjoyed this trip. Very impactful. Like Autumn said, I don't really like kids that much, so it was kind of hard for me. And also, I had. I had a good attitude like most of the time. Which is kind of hard because I'm an introvert and don't like being around people 24/7. But I had like a good attitude till like the end when we were traveling back. I was getting a little annoyed with everyone, but like yeah. And I really like the children's home ministry, like blessing their kids. That was really nice and impactful.
I was so proud of our team. I mean, they had such good attitudes. And in the city that, the area that Patty was talking about where the orange farms were, that was in the district of Phong, it's called, or Fang. They pronounce it different. Fang, F-A-N-G. Anyway, Phong, I think is how they pronounce it. And we were in really difficult circumstances. I called it affectionately Hell's Inferno. No one can prove me different. I think that room we slept in was 150 degrees. I mean, no one had a thermometer, so they can't tell me that I was wrong. And we were right across from a Buddhist temple. Like the church was right across from the Buddhist temple. And we were on the 3rd story of the church. There's no air conditioning. And with every story, it just got 15 degrees hotter till you reach the 3rd story. And it was hotter than it was outside. And you just threw the windows open and put like 5 fans in the room and literally just put washcloths. Like I like wipe my whole body down and just lay there trying to like go to sleep with the fans blowing and like millipede on my bed. And I was like, just, and, oh man, it was so hot. It was so hot. It was like you couldn't get a break from it. You couldn't get a break from it. Like finally Jeff's like, you got to get a break on him, because I'm like, I can't breathe. I just can't breathe. But even in that, nobody complained. Nobody. 10 people, 12 people with our leaders. Nobody complained. I mean, it was hot as hell, quite frankly. I mean, it was so hot. Nobody complained on our team. Nobody. That wasn't a cuss word. I meant it literally. I've never been there and I don't plan on going, but I imagine it being that hot. Okay, hell's going to be 20 degrees hotter than Phong. You just like get in the shower. Of course, there's no hot water and you don't need it anyway. You just get in the shower and then you get out and just begin to sweat. And you're just like, oh my goodness. So Jeff's like, Autumn, like, because I couldn't breathe at one point. And he's like, let's walk down to 7-Eleven, which is an Asia thing. You guys remember 7-Eleven and the big gulps? They're all over Asia. 7-Eleven didn't go away. It just all moved to Asia. So every city has a 7-Eleven. And I walked in at 7-Eleven and just opened the refrigerator and stuck my head in and just stood there for 10 minutes choosing my drink. It was hot, guys. Anyway, but it was like some of the best ministry. And there was there was like so much spiritual warfare. We had this huge Buddhist temple across from the church, and we were having like spiritual dreams through the night with how to pray for the church, like demonic things that were like, really important things the Lord was showing us. So I'm like, in the midst of the difficulty, like the Lord was with us so much. And what Isaiah said about him having a great attitude, you have a group of 10, 12 people, half of you are going to be introverts. I mean, people, you just can't control whether you don't want to be around people anymore and you need to be alone. But when you're on a trip like that, it's 15 days and it's it. We're all together for 15 days. And if we'd have like a couple hours off, we'd look at each other and say, introverts, take advantage of the moment. You got 2 hours. Go with your headphones and get into a corner to be by yourself. And no one was angry with each other. Everyone was patient, loving. I was so proud of our team and how their example of Christ. It was amazing. Who else do we have? Pa, Claire, and Sunshine are out of town. Chad and Seike. Seike, do you have a little document that you want to bring up and show everybody? Oh, Chad has it. Seike, it was a miracle till the end. How many remember 3 weeks ago praying for Seike to be able to come? And we had to make this hard decision to move her plane ticket so she was not traveling with us. By faith, her family, which I just am so proud of the Hendricksons, by faith, they moved her plane ticket to 48 hours later and bought a last-minute plane ticket to Thailand for Chad so he could travel with her, which was a necessity. And by faith, they spent all that money, not ever knowing was her document really going to show up. And it showed up. And then even after it showed up the day we actually left. They still needed a visa. And the visa is supposed to take 2 weeks. And they called and got a hold of, I'm convinced, the same grouchy man that we got a hold of in 2022 that just got the job done for Sepo. Didn't he, he was angry with you and said, yeah, made you cry and said, fine, I'll do it for you. I was like, thank you, God. And so there they showed up. And before Seike even shares, they showed up, they made that same long trip that the whole team did, but they didn't have a day to recover. And they showed up at 6 p.m. that night. We threw some food in front of them, threw everything we owned into this pickup with 12 people, and started the 4-5 hour journey to Phong that night. And the whole team rallied around him. We laid hands on him. We said, for 24 hours, we are serving Chad and Winter as a team. Our goal is to serve Chad and Winter, and we will give them the air conditioning. Do you remember that? Patty was waiting for the 24 hours to be done so she could really like give Chad a hard time. But we put them in the air conditioning in the front of the pickup. Other people took the back, and we said we're giving you the preference. We tried to buy them like drinks, like just like taking care of them, giving them extra sleep whenever possible, because like they literally arrived after 30 hours of travel, were thrown into a pickup and drove in pretty bad conditions up the mountains. And yeah, good job. You did that and you survived it. And Chad had a good attitude. That's more of a miracle than Isaiah. No, you were great. So 24 hours was over 15 days ago. No, Chad, you're the best. All right. Tell us, AK, miracle of miracles. What did God do in your life? Or what did you love?
First of all, I want to thank you all for like praying over my document. Was it Kapunka? Kapunka, which is thank you in Thai, I think. And I want to like say to the teenagers in the room, or soon to be teenagers, that like I did it. I went on a missions trip to an entirely like different place. And like you can do it anywhere, basically. Like start like evangelizing anytime, like here in America. Like I felt so scared to like preach in my own school because of like the cold culture. But being at Thailand in the villages and like just they're so kind. The warm culture is like it was so like different. I felt God's presence. I felt like God's hug was like wrapped around me, and like I felt more accepted there than like in my own home, like high school. And sorry if I'm a little nervous. I laughed too hard. I think like I had like a lot of like spiritual warfare, like going to the trip and like coming back just a little bit. But that was mostly because I was doubting like God's power. And recently like I've noticed that it's so easy to like not doubt his power. And like everything that he put me through, like in the mission trip, I had nothing to worry about. He took care of everything, absolutely everything. And I felt like my face is twitchy. I've smiled a lot. Anyways, I felt everything's so easy. Like I can do this in America. I don't have to worry about the cold culture. All I have to do is just pray, and then like pray for my person, pray for my person of peace, and then just get in there. Like there's not a lot of people of peace in like our high school, but I feel like as a teenager, we're gonna change this generation. And like after experiencing Thailand, I'm like, I don't want to be afraid anymore. I don't want to be afraid of like these people who like think they can hurt me. They can't do that because I have God. Also want to add that there was this girl like in the children's home, I think. I keep calling it the orphanage. Like she was highlighted to me from God, and I got to pray with her. And when we got to like, like when we gathered all the kids and go to like the day market or something, Pac was like lining them up. Who do you want to go to? Oh, him? Okay, you go. And so she was like standing there, and like and then Pac said, "Are you gonna choose Seikei?" And she said, "Yes." And then ran to me and hugged me. That felt like I was like, she chose me. And I think like Autumn has been saying a lot, and like I think you guys too, who've been like praying over my document and my family, like it was like a turning point, like turning of my page that God's gonna put in my life. And like I already kind of see the fruit, because like I'm so sick and tired of like scrolling through my phone, being brainless, because I'm a teenager. So now I'm like, I'm gonna do something with my life. I'm gonna preach in my school when like it comes, like, and I'm gonna like spend a lot of time with my friends and family, like spend a lot of time with my friends, especially those like who have like Buddhism in their household. I know one person specifically, and I know I'm gonna be like, no, hold on, I lost my train of thought. And I know I'm gonna like do well because God's with me. And like my best friend's mom, who I'm talking about, like she's gonna be so accepting, and I know she's gonna love God with all her heart. So that, I think that's it. That's all I've said currently.
I loved having Seikei on the trip. Seikei just comes up to me. She lets me know what she needs. She's like, I need 6-second hugs a day to be healthy. And I'm like, well, let's start it right now. So we just like big hugs in. I'm so proud of you, Seikei. I'm so proud of you. Wow. That was really powerful testimony, wasn't it? The turning of the page. And I hope that everyone heard, if she can do it, anyone can do it, is what she said. It's so true. Chad, why don't you come share?
Well, I feel like I have to address a lot of charges laid at my door. So anyway, no, I was gonna say one of the most blessed parts of my trip was when Patty had to be nice to me for 24 hours, because it was such a struggle for her. So, thank you, Patty, for trying. You were 10 minutes short. It's okay. I'll forgive you. All right. This is that travel document. Thank you to everyone who prayed for this piece of junk, because it literally, I'm thinking through it in my head, and it literally probably, even once we, not to mention the hours it cost Autumn, my wife, and all the people that like prayed for it, and all, like just in airports alone, getting there and getting back, it probably took 2 to 3 hours of time, like extra, like being pulled aside. What is this document? What does it do? She can't come in the country. Yes, she can. No, she can't. Where she has a visa. You want the visa? I told you 5 times I had a visa. You didn't want the visa. Now you want the visa. Like all these things. Like she got pulled aside. They're like, no, we don't need you, the white guy. We just need her. I'm like, you're not taking her away without me. Like, so like I'm following her around, and they're like trying to stop you. So like this thing, like it is not accepted in like any countries at all. So I don't know what the point is. It took a lot of work to get it. It doesn't work. But she's back and she made it there, so good. So yeah. So thank you guys for praying very much. Yes. But so literally one guy at the last airport in Amsterdam, when we're like, the guy looked at, he was getting ready to stamp it, right? He looks at it and he looks at the guy, he's like, and they're talking, and I did know some Dutch, but I don't remember it anymore. But basically, it looked like he said, like, "What the heck is this?" to his and the guy throws his hands up. I don't know, and he's like, and the guy's like, "Oh, whatever," and just stamps it. I was like, okay, everybody else would have pulled us aside for like 2 hours, but I was like, but he just stamps it. He's like, yeah, it's not. They're not even allowed to go back in the country. Stamp it anyway. So it was a really great trip. I was not planning to go on the trip at all. Like, I wanted to say like 2 weeks before, 2 weeks before they left, I was like, they kept talking about what they were going to do on the trip. I was like, I feel like I should have been on that trip. Kind of wish I could go on that trip. But it's a little bit late. So I wasn't going, but I was just like, this is like a trip that would be my jam. And anyway, we ended up being able to go, and my bosses let me off, like even though like I was like trying to call them all week and they would not answer the phone. They answered on Monday and they're like, yeah, I don't think anybody's on vacation. And then I find out I work 3 more days and I find out like literally everybody's on vacation. Like literally everybody was on vacation, but he'd already said yes. So I was like, okay. He's like, yeah, nobody's on vacation right now. And then I'm like trying to call all these other bosses and they're like, oh, that one's on vacation. That one's on vacation. That one's on vacation. I'm like, okay, everybody's on vacation. So, all right. Anyway, so the kids did like, they've already said, but they did like so amazing. Like really, everybody did on the trip. I was reading this passage where it talks about when Jethro, which is Moses' father-in-law, he comes to visit him after they come out of Egypt, right? And it says specifically that Moses is telling about every hardship they had, but then and we're always talking about like not complain. Like there was a lot of hardships on this trip. There was like a lot of things that like came against us. A lot of spiritual warfare. I don't even like to really even say that, but I mean, there was like, it just was like, I mean, that one night, and I'm going to call it Fang. I think we should just call it Fang and go, because it was like, because we were literally across from a temple that had like this green snake coming out. We should call it Fang, guys. It's spelled like Fang. It's called Fang. We're calling it a Fang. Anyway, so, but like that second night there, I don't think anybody slept. I'm pretty sure nobody slept. I wrote a song. I got a word from God. I did a lot of things that night, but sleep wasn't one of them. Like I did, I'm sorry, I slept for 10 minutes and I had a dream with Autumn in it or something like that. And then like God gave me a word. But like nobody slept that night. Like hardly anybody. Like the kids didn't. I didn't. Nobody. I mean, and we were set up. Like I had fans on. Like I had a fan on Jeff. I had a fan on every person in the room. We were set up better than the first night. And like no one slept. It's just like it didn't happen. So, but like everybody had like a great attitude, and like there was like power. Like every time like there would be resistance. Like one day, like we went to a village one day where there was one we were trying to like it was the first time they were going to go there, so they didn't have access to it. They hadn't talked to a leader. They had no access. So usually they try to open up one and then visit one that they've just recently opened up. So like. And that was going to be the second day. We were going to visit one that they had opened up with the last team. So, but anyway, they're trying to open up a new one with a team and then visit one that they've already had opened up by another team. And so, but going into this one where we're trying to like have an open door, like nothing, like Sunshine got sick that day and she was going to have to stay back. And we already knew that like by coffee that morning. Seike steps out of like the vehicle or something and like steps in, like they have these stupid, concrete drainage grates, but like your foot goes through. Like I mean, they're not like if we're walking on them. I wonder if I'm gonna fall through. Like on the way to 7-Eleven like 50 times, And then like Seike like steps in between one like that morning and like gets her foot caught in it. Like actually like as we were leaving, this next team, like Pac's girlfriend, our driver's girlfriend, like fell in it alone to her waist. Dug herself out and crawled back to the base, or like somehow got back to the base, but then had to be taken to the emergency room. It's bad. It was bad. So like Seike fell in it, and like like I thought she was maybe gonna have to stay back that day. So there was already like this thing. I hadn't brought the guitar, and I was like, and we were like talking about it over coffee. Sunshine is gonna have to stay back. All this stuff. Somebody's gonna probably stay with Sunshine, and so you're potentially. We're already looking at almost 3 teammates down, and we haven't even like went anywhere. We woke up and we had some coffee. That's all that's happened. Satan, we haven't done anything yet. Okay, so but so it was just like I was like I need to get we need to go since we're taking Sunshine back, we should get the guitar because like I think we need to worship because I had that song something always changes when I bless you. So we got that. We a lot of things happened, but we got that, and then we sang that song, and like it was I think it was just me, like, and like a lot of the younger kids when we were singing that song in the back, but like, because the first person he drove to, because I didn't get it out right away. We went back, dropped Sunshine off, we got the guitar, and then we were sitting in the back, and we went to the first place, and they couldn't find the village, like the leader of the village, to even talk to him or something, or they had already went to work. I don't exactly understand what that story was, but then so I was like, okay, we got to get out. So we start driving. I was like, let's get out the guitar. We just started worshiping and singing that song, and then it felt like there was a shift. Then we stopped somewhere and he talks to somebody and he has success, like the pot guy. And then we go to this, and he's like, we're going to this other place where there's this leader. So now we know who this leader is. And then like Autumn came back, and then we like prayed and worshiped some more. And then that's this lady that like they were talking about took us into her house. I don't know which one was talking about, but maybe Nay. But like she's like over like this area of villages, and she talked to another leader while we were like with her, like on the phone, that said we could do it in like other that it was okay if we like talked to people in all these other places. And she invited the next team. She invited our team, but like she invited teams to stay in her house, which are her house. I'll let Pastor Jeff tell you about the house. It was pretty cool. He liked that house. Anyway, but she invited teams to like stay in that house, like they could come and stay in the house. And she's not Christian. She is Buddhist, but she knew we were praying for. And it wasn't like oh, I didn't realize. Like I kept thinking it was going to be like, oh, I didn't realize you were doing that. Like shut it down. Like she didn't ever shut it down. Like she took us to the sickest, most crippled, like most like needy people of the village. Like it was hard for me that day because I was like, you're like just like, oh my gosh, like you're just like looking at people that should be able to walk, can't walk, and you're like, like I wish I was Jesus right now. Like you're 'cause you just want power to be released so they get healed. But I mean, it was a great day and like open doors. But like like every time there would be like that night where no one slept, that day where everybody's getting hurt or sick, or like God would like release power and like do something like amazing, even in the midst of like this, just crazy stuff. And even with the travel document and all the stuff, like God was like constantly coming through. He was constantly answering our prayers or responding to worship, responding to you guys' prayers. Like I know you guys prayed for the trip. I know you guys prayed for a lot of you prayed for the document. It was like really powerful. And like the attitudes on the trip were like, other than Patty's, like they were great. Like, I mean, no, like, but we like it was like a really good trip. Like I hadn't been on a trip with all the people, and I had barely get to like be around some. It was just really, it was a good group to be with. Like I was really blessed by like everybody that was on the trip. Everybody has like super unique and different giftings, but like seeing them work together. We went to that day. I think maybe it was the next day. Anyway, the first pastor's village we went to minister to this pastor. And he was talking, I don't know, Autumn had a dream about the pastor, and then we started worshiping, and then Patty said something wasn't like, I don't know, there was like, I'll let Patty tell, but like there was like 2 or 3 different like words around it, and like then there was breakthrough, like there was something like blocking, and then there was like breakthrough, and like breakthrough for the pastor and breakthrough for the area, and it was just like multiple times God like did things like that, and it was just really powerful to see like, like, okay, like, I don't have the word right now. I can bring my guitar and I can worship, but like what Patty said right there, like that was right, and that's what needs to be saying right now. And what Autumn just related, like it was just cool to like see the different things like working like together and like producing something that needed to happen. So there were so many amazing things. I love being with kids. I always like being with kids. I could talk about. Somebody's got to share. Are one of you going to share that like what the little girl said about the shopping? Because if you're not, I'm going to share it. If you don't remember, I'm going to share it. Okay, anyway, I wasn't even in the vehicle, but I heard it, and it's powerful. Like, so, okay, so they told you that we took those little kids shopping. Okay, one of the girls said, like, the little girls was like, told Pac, which was our driver, she's like, I love Jesus. Like, she's like, got all her stuff. She's like, I love Jesus so much. And like, because like, she like equated like, this was happening because Jesus, like, and so she was just saying, like, I love Jesus. Like, it was just like really powerful. Like, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, like, and that should be the response. Like, not thank you, like, but like, I love Jesus so much. It was powerful. So,
thank you, Chad. I don't even know what we would have done without Chad on that trip. I mean, the idea that God brought him in on like 3 days before or something. Every person I feel like had just what Chad said, unique gifts. Chad is really good with kids. He's really good. He's very athletic. He likes to get in there and play soccer with them. He's getting a little older, but he still will do whatever he can to play with them. And, and he had his guitar. He brought his like short guitar so he could bring it on the plane with him. And it was amazing. He would always just have his guitar with him. We just pull it out at any moment and start worshiping wherever we were at, and just start worshiping and praying and have a prayer meeting. And so, Chad, I'm so grateful that you came. So grateful. Patty, such a team mom the whole time. We had her take care of all of the important documents for the whole trip, like for through the airport. Like every minor age child, 18 and under, had to give their passport to her, because you just don't know what it's like, guys, for someone to lose a passport on a trip. And so she would be the carrier of important documents, and like at every checkpoint be handing out the documents. And then if anytime anyone started getting sick, she was also the carrier of the zinc liquid. She's like, I got to zinc you. Open up now. She squirt that stuff that tastes like metal right down your throat. And she even was treating our leaders. She's like, you do feel sick? Have you gotten your zinc yet? And she's like, squirts it in their mouth. The next day he's worse. And he's like, it's the zinc. We don't take, he called it that American medicine. He's like, I don't think it made you sick, but he was convinced that American medicine made me sick. No, it was such a blessing. And then Isaiah, Seike, you heard from them. Pa Claire is actually, she's in Texas right now with her family, but she's fluent in Karen, and she was one of our translators in the villages. I mean, that was amazing. She led a team. We broke up into 2 teams, and our 2 leaders from the YWAM base, their names are Thong and Pak. Thong is Karen Thai. She's fluent in Karen. And then Pak is just Thai. And so we needed another Karen translator. And so Pa Claire stepped in, led a team, and translated for an entire, the whole time we went through a village. It was amazing. I was so proud of her. Sunshine was the youngest one on our team. We might have her share next week. She's 13, turned 14 on the way home. And that's young, guys. What we just described, when you're that hot, you're that tired, you're that exhausted, there's that level of spiritual warfare. She was amazing. I was so proud of her. I mean, she just couldn't, like, you couldn't break her attitude. I mean, the girl could be standing up sleeping. And she was like, you shake her, okay, all right. So just a smile, all right. Just kind of lead her by the hand because she was like so tired. But the attitude, and she's always involved playing with the kids. And Jeff, why don't I let you share too? And then I'm going to, why don't you share quickly? And then I'm going to go through this slideshow.
Yeah, I'd say for me, a couple of the highlights for me were we went in to visit a Buddhist temple. And we were just kind of walking around the temple and prayer walking and praying for the people who were there. But for me, like when we walked in, there was this area in the temple where there was probably 10 to 15 people that were all just there on a mat before a big shrine, and they were all praying. And like just standing there, watching them praying to these idols. And there was one young woman in particular, her face was just like, the look on her face was like blank. I don't even know how to describe it very well, but my heart was moved with compassion, honestly. And I would just stand there and watch them pray, and then I'd be praying for them silently, you know what I mean, as they were doing their thing, and just like, Lord, reveal Jesus to this person, and God, reveal Jesus to that one. And that just really touched my heart. And then kind of the same thing, standing in the Bangkok airport. I don't even know how many nations, tons of different nations, unreached, like in the 1040 window, unreached people groups. They're just walking by. It's this international hub of an airport. I'm like, Muslims and Hindus and Buddhists and from all these different countries are just going by. And I'm like, this place is wonderful. I'm like, I love this place. This is a dream. It was so great, man. And it just moved my heart. And like the harvest is great, and the workers are few. It's real. And I remember we went into, this is the last thing I'll share, is we had this when we were in the area where the school was. Every day we went to this same coffee shop. We'd go twice a day because it was just relief. You know, it'd be hot, and you'd go to the coffee shop and get a cold iced cappuccino. It was just like, and it was just nice, you know. And so we'd go there twice a day, morning and afternoon. And I noticed like it was the same young woman who was working there every single time making all of our drinks. And I noticed by the second day, because we were there, I think 4 or 5 days. I noticed by the second day, I was like, she just loves our team. I'm like, this girl loves it when we come in. And I was thinking, oh man, are we going to be annoying? Because every time our team comes in, she's making a lot of drinks. All of a sudden, she has a ton of work, like 12 drinks she's having to make. And but she loved our team, and I was like, oh man, this is a person of peace. And she just loved us and warmed up to us like more and more, like every day that we would come in. And then she would, like, by the end, she was looking forward to our team coming in. And she was even asking us, she goes, are you going to come back? Are you going to come back? And we're like, well, we have to leave tomorrow, but we'll come in one more time before we leave. So we show up the very last time, and she had bought gifts for our team and given them to our team, just like candy bars or something like that. She had, just bought, she go, oh, I have something for you. And she had bought a gift and given it to us. And then she's like, to Autumn, she's like, are you on Facebook or Instagram? And so that they could keep talking. And they've been texting back and forth. And we had opportunity. We prayed for her and just, shared a testimony with her about Jesus and got to pray with her. But I knew, I'm like, I can feel a person of peace a lot of the times. I just can. And I'm like, this is a person of peace. And part of me was like, I wish we were staying longer, because I know she'd do discovery Bible studies with us. Like, I know she'd just meet with us and read Bible stories, and we'd lead her to the Lord. But we had to leave, but she's connected with Autumn, so that's good on the thing. But and then even we found out on the way back, someone had messaged us like, yeah, that lady at the coffee shop, she actually, help me if I get some of this wrong. They found out that she used to, when she was younger, that at one time she had been a believer. But then she had, moved to another area, another city, and just couldn't find believers really to fellowship with. And just kind of wasn't practicing anymore. You know what I mean? But like when she saw our team and she saw Jesus in her team, it wasn't us. I mean, it was like God was so gracious. One of the graces that we had, like we were conscious of, everywhere we went, he was shining. It was just so obvious. It was like he was shining through us, and she was seeing him and the joy and the love and the fun we were having. And when she saw the life in us, it was like something was just like being awakened in her again and stirred up in her again. And then, of course, we were talking to her about the Lord as well. So that was really, really cool. So pray for her, and that she'd really just come back to the Lord and find believers to get discipled and grow in her faith. So yeah.
Thank you. Alex, can you pull the that slide? No. I don't have it ready. I don't. All right, here we go. So this is actually a picture I took of the most giant Buddha I've ever seen at the Buddha temple, and this is in Chiang Mai. And I just wanted to say, why don't we? Are you guys okay? Will you fall asleep if it's this dark? Okay. So I would say the verse, as I was praying this last week, the verse Proverbs 3, 5, and 6 just was in my heart. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Lean not on your own understandings. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will direct your path. But the truth is that sometimes we start at the end, and that's how we fulfill the first part of that verse. We need God to direct our path so bad that it causes us to trust in him with all our heart and quit leaning on our own understanding and start acknowledging him and submitting to him in new ways, because we need him to direct our paths. And personally, on a personal level, I was so challenged as a leader on this trip, and just as a human being. I was so challenged constantly in situations where I did not know how to lead. I did not, it would just be like, the night before, they would say, okay, tomorrow we're going to have your team is going to break up into smaller teams, and you're going to teach English in the school. And I said, teach English? We got a 13-year-old and a 15-year-old and an 18-year-old, and I don't even speak it right. I mean, like, you know what I mean? Like, what do you mean? And all the kids are Thai. All the kids are Thai. And we're just like, we're going to be in the class teaching English. And so we just look at each other and just kind of like waves of panic coming over. I'm like, okay, Lord, direct our paths, right? So constantly the Lord was like putting us into situations where we like needed his help so bad. And he was showing us how to trust in him, to lean not on our own understandings, to acknowledge him in everything. And he was just directing us so supernaturally. So the first first few days we were there, we were in Chiang Mai, and we actually, you can go to the next picture. We went to this Buddhist temple, which is like one of the most famous Buddhist temples in the area. They try to build their temples up on top of hills or mountains. Literally, they're trying to get the highest place. Literally, it's on the highest place. And isn't that a spiritual picture? The devil wanting to exalt himself. And so we did prayer walking just quietly. We're not drawing attention to ourselves. This is a place where tourists potentially come also, but mostly it's Buddhist believers, which is like 99% of the country. And we were prayer walking. But leading up to this 6 months ago, I had a dream that we went into a Buddhist temple, which I have never done that. I don't go in, at other times when we've been to Thailand, I never visited a Buddhist temple. I had no desire to. But they wanted us to prayer walk through it. And so, but I had this dream 6 months earlier that our team was going through a Buddhist temple, but there were Hindu idols in the Buddhist temple. And there was a lot to the dream, but the main part is that I began to sing in the spirit. I began to sing in tongues in the Buddhist temple, and something was dethroned. That was the dream. And so all of a sudden, they're like, we want to take you to a Buddhist temple. And I arrived at this Buddhist temple, and I said, I'm really remembering this dream I had 6 months ago. And I said that there were Hindu altars in there. And he goes, oh, that's something special at this temple. It's not at most temples, but this temple has many Hindu gods in it. And so literally Hindu gods in this temple. And I was like, we pulled the team together, and I said, you better be praying. This isn't a tourist moment. Like, we are praying. Like, this is a worship moment. This is a sovereign moment. And if you have the gift of tongues, you pray in it right now and under your breath. And so this is a beautiful outlook on this. How you say the next picture here? Oh, I can do it. I have a clicker. I got it. Oh, okay. I'll click from now on. I will remember that I have a clicker. So, does it work? Where do you click it at? Oh, there we go. Oh, yeah. That's it works. So right here, you have a Buddhist shrine. And I stood in front of this and prayed and worshiped quietly for quite a while. We had some really good moments of prayer there. And Jeff talked about it. All right. And then we also did soccer ministry when we were in Chiang Mai, which was really fun. Jeff was definitely the favorite. Chad wasn't there yet. Sorry, Chad. You would have been the favorite. But Jeff's athletic. So Pak, who is our Thai leader, he has this ministry to local kids in Chiang Mai. And so he will, once or twice a week, he has a league. They come, they're almost all Buddhist kids, and he teaches them soccer. They actually travel, they play games, but he's bringing Christ into everything. He's constantly, when they talk about sportsmanship, and, it's Jesus says, turn the other cheek. I mean, it's constantly preaching Christ to these kids, and really is amazing ministry. And so he gathered his team up, and we had a special night with them where we got to share Christ with them, share some testimonies. Sunshine also shared. Here's all the team. We also donated some soccer balls to their league, which was great. One of the young men was Corinne, actually, and Pa Claire and him got to talk. That was nice. Oh, this little sweet girl. Is she adorable? She lives on the base there. She's a missionary kid. Okay, and then also when we were in Chiang Mai, we went to somewhere called like a special needs school. And so these kids were like high school age, and they all had special needs, Down syndrome, different impairments. And this is run by a beautiful elderly Christian woman who's run it for like 30 years, I think. And she basically brings these kids in and teaches them skills and basic skills. Like there's a noodle stand that comes every day, and they help prepare the noodles and sell the noodles, and they're learning how they could have their own noodle stand. And so it's actually a really important ministry. And in countries like Thailand, a lot of times special needs kids are very forgotten and actually have very devastating lives. Several of the kids actually live here in this home. They don't want to go home, or they don't have places to go. And we got to give a donation to this ministry. Also, we shared Christ with them, sang songs with them, did testimonies. It was really fun. And Isaiah, he shared the story of Jonah. That's what he's doing right there. And then they love to do art. This little guy was super proud of his art. And he was jealous of anyone else we were taking pictures of. He wanted his photo. It was pretty cute. All right, here's more pictures. Everyone shines so well. It was really fun. Okay, then we traveled the long road to Phong, to the hot place, guys. Okay, and we on Sunday morning we helped with their church service. Patty, actually, we had a really unique opportunity. Patty shared from our team, but a team from China was also there. A YWAM team, all Chinese from China. And we had such a connection with this team. And Patty was already on the docket to share. And she ended up sharing the miraculous testimony of her adoption of Isaiah from Mongolia and China. And the team was there from China. And like, we were all weeping. And it was just like, oh, it was so powerful. And then we got out of the heat to go get coffee. Whenever possible, we would do this. Look at those drinks, guys. It was so fun. All right. And this is the orange farms. This is us. It's part of the team gathered up. Nay is sharing right now his testimony at the orange farms. It's both Patty and I walked away and we said we could do this every day of our life. I loved the orange farms. It was like really, really, really precious ministry. There's a team here. Right here, this guy's name is Jai something. Jai. And he's Sean. So that's another people group from Myanmar. And he ministers to the Shan. And all the people working in the orange farms here are Shan people. They've actually come across illegally into Thailand, fleeing for their life, but they're not there legally. They have no papers. And so they come to the orange farms, and the orange farm protects them by bribing the police so they can stay there. So the police will come to do checks and they'll receive bribes, and that's how the Shan people get to live there. But they have no citizen rights, and they can't leave because they can't find a job anywhere else. They also can't visit a hospital if they're hurting, if they're injured. They have no rights, and they can't go anywhere where they're going to be asked for a document. It's actually a very desperate situation for them. And these are kids. It's really, really dark, but these are all kiddos from the orange farm. And so sweet. All right, then the next day, these same kids, this ministry in Phong, really amazing. They completely focus on the Shan people, and they have a church, but they also have a school, and they have a daycare, all for the Orange family children, for the Orange family farms kids. Okay, so you can imagine. It's a desperate situation. There's no one to watch the children. Parents are in the orange farms all day long. And so they take their kids and they will educate the kids. And they also provide daycare for them. And so if they can get the children to university, then they can get citizenship and they could have a life. And so we were at the daycare all morning. And it was this is the crown of flowers that Nay was talking about. Look at that little angel that he created that. So we did a children's program. We taught them some more things about Jesus. We played with them. Here's all the kiddos that go to the Shan people who go to this daycare. And I'm the leaders. This is Pastor Alu. And he has a Filipino wife somewhere. She's not there, but she's the leader of it. She's a force to be reckoned with. She's amazing. And more pictures of these sweet kids. Oh my goodness. Aren't they just precious? And many of the children their situation will get really desperate. And the pastor, other Christian leaders have brought so many kids into their home. All of them have children living with them because they'll start going to the school, and then maybe they'll have parents that die, or situations where a dad dies, a mom runs out, and then whatever. So it's a really quality place. Okay, now we traveled from there up farther into the mountains to Wyong Pa Po. And this is where the children's home is. All these sweet little kiddos are living in a children's home. And this is where the school is. It's all one big complex. And it was farther up in the mountains, and it was cooler, which was nice. Still no air conditioning, but you could sleep and breathe. And they're all showing us their new outfits. I'm really excited. Okay, this little thing that they're doing, that's a mini heart. It's an Asian thing. And they'll do this. Sending you love. Little here, mini hearts. Yeah, it's an Asian thing. If you watch a K-drama, you'll see it. All right, this is the school, students from the school. on a fun day that we had for them. It was really fun. We got to share Christ every day with the kids from the school. And in the evening, we would go over to the children's home, which was just in the back of the property, and we get to spend the last 45 minutes of the kids' night with them before they went to bed. So we were putting them to bed. And so we would play games with them, share a Bible story, do a testimony. And Sunshine was amazing. She shared a Bible story one night. And that is Pak. This is our fearless leader, our YWAM Thai leader. He spoke Thai and English. He was just a precious gem. And here's Nay sharing his testimony with the whole school. All right. And that would be our base. And then during the day and the afternoon, sometimes we would go into villages. And so we went up even farther into the mountains this is where everyone got to be space cowboys in the back. Korean cowboys, they call themselves, just pounding it out in that truck all the way up the mountain. It was beautiful though. Here's a sweet grandma. Actually, she's a Christian. This one was. And we were running out of time. She wanted us to come in her house, but we just would kneel down. The kids, everyone did really, really well with new customs. Like she's elderly and she's the eldest. And so the custom is that you need to get lower than her. So that woman could kneel really low. So that meant everybody else is going as lower. And only if they stood up could we stand up. So we went to visit with them. As soon as they sat down, everyone would sit down around them and to honor them. And we would give a gift. We usually gave food to various different households that were in need and then prayed with them. And here's Isaiah giving some food to one of the men in the village. This is the pastor of the village right here. And this is Chad alluded to or talked about a prayer time that we had. The Holy Spirit led us so beautifully. And he would give us visions, dreams, would tell us what to pray. And I mean, we had really powerful ministry times with local leaders too. Oh, sorry, duplicated it. And there was a nice church building in that village. And so I don't know why the picture got cropped, but I'm not really deciphering, but yes, Chad would lead some kid songs. They like to play games where they smear things in each other's face. It's really a fun Asian thing, like baby powder, food. Sorry, no videos, but they really, like, it's a thing. They love playing games where they smear things on. So this is baby powder smeared in each other's face. And then this old man, he was in great need, and we were praying for him. Yeah. This is the principal of the school, and I'm really proud of Sunshine. She gave a donation, and all the kids got ice cream the next day. That was fun. Okay, so this is Bai Thong. This is our barista at the coffee shop we went to twice a day, and now we're friends on Instagram and talking, and God's did a whole amazing thing there. Everywhere we went, we were led by the Spirit. It was so fun. This was our other leader from YWAM. Her name is Thong, and she is Corinne, and absolutely precious. Oh, yeah, this is the woman. Yes. I'll tell. Do you want me to tell the story?
Tell the tree house.
Oh, okay. This woman lived in this house, and you can't see it, but it's really cool. Have you ever seen Swiss Family Robinson, the old one? Okay. Her house really looked like Swiss Family Robinson's house or something. It was like a tree house. It was incredible. I never saw anything like it the whole time we were in Thailand. Her husband built it herself. They were obviously influential people in the community. And so each village or neighborhood has a neighborhood leader, and they represent the neighborhood and try to work for the betterment of the neighborhood. Well, this woman's 28-year-old son is the neighborhood leader. But let me tell you, mom is in charge. God led us to the right person. He was at work, but all we need was mama, because she was going to get it done for us. So it was a beautiful Buddhist woman. As soon as we said, we have food and gifts, we want to bless your people. We're Christians. We never hid that we were Christians. We want to bless your people. Is there anyone in need in your community that we could maybe give this to and pray for them? And she had us into her home. She showed us through her house. And she says, she called her son and said, these people are here. You need to let them help us. And he's like, yes, of course. And so then she personally would take us to each of the people's houses. And she would say, we would give the gift, get low, give the gift. And then she would say, and now they're going to bless you. Receive it. That was done. We had open doors everywhere we went because this mama said, you're going to receive the blessing. Now they're going to pray for you. Receive it. And it's a very culture of honor. So she's an honored person in the community. So she's the one that also invited our team and future teams to stay at her house. It's a really big deal. So in the future, they will bring people to her home and they will stay in her home, which will be a huge honor for her. But also she's a person of peace. So we'll get to share Christ with her. And then this is really a whole village now that's 200 homes that are now open to Christ. She also asked us to come and bring teams back to work in their school. Their village has their own school. And she says, would you come? Would you teach English in our school? So we have big, big doors. It was so fun to pioneer. It was amazing. And this was that day when there was so much spiritual warfare and we were worshiping and praying and we'd seen a python over the village in the spirit and we felt like there was something hindering and we went to prayer and then the whole thing opened up. So amazing. And this is one of the households that we ministered to in that neighborhood. This sweet lady has dementia and her daughter takes care of her. This is a different village. I know I'm switching back, but this village was really, really poor village. We went house to house. This is our last day. We had fun. We went to this waterfall. I kind of see it. We climbed the waterfall. And we did not starve. I had to include the food. It was incredible. We ate plenty. You guys can turn the lights on. Yeah, it was so cheap. It's amazing. I got back. I couldn't believe how much my groceries were. I was like, I could live for a month in Thailand on that $100 grocery bill. Yeah, we would feed the team for $1.50 a meal to $2 a meal. Yeah. So, I'm going to read it again. Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him. Some translations say, in all your ways submit to him, and he directs your paths. And I just want to leave on this note. The next time you're in a situation that you don't know what to do, that you actually need the Lord, you're aware that you need him to direct you. Each of us need him to direct us every single day, but we're not aware of it, right? There's some things we just go through the motions. We know how to do our everyday work or whatever. And then there's situations we get in where we're so aware that we need God to be directing our steps. We need him right now. I don't know what to do. I need you, Lord, to be directing my steps. In those moments, I want you to remember it is such an opportunity. It's an opportunity. You're just realizing your need that you already had. Your need right then is to do everything you can to focus on trusting in God in that moment. And leaning not on your own understanding. God, when we found that woman that opened up that whole village, we had 2 villages that failed earlier. We were literally, it was a last ditch effort. We had tried to go through 2 villages, couldn't find village leaders. One person said, you cannot do this because we don't have permission from the village leader yet. I'm like, okay. And we're praying and worshiping in the back of a truck and just saying, God, open up the heavens, Lord. And the Lord knows he didn't want us to go there. He had a whole new one. Those were follow-ups from other people's work. He had a whole new area he wanted to open up for the gospel. And sometimes you just can't, you have to trust in the Lord and not lean on your own understanding. And it was like, and literally the leader was like, our leader, Pak, was like, let's just drive a little farther. Literally, we just didn't know. We just couldn't have anywhere to stop because we had some closed doors. He goes, let's just drive a little farther and see if, and he just pulled over and said, is there a village leader near here? And they're like, oh yeah, she lives right there. And the whole thing opened up. And it would just look like a coincidence or by chance. What's that? Pak, our leader, said he has never been on a house-to-house. They call that house-to-house. He's never been on one that opened up like that. He had never seen such a miraculous thing happen in his ministry as what happened that day. So, that's a great illustration for us as we were in Thailand. But every single day for you, when you're in that tight spot, I want to exhort you and encourage you. When you know I need God to direct my path, that's your opportunity to turn to Proverbs 3, 5, and 6 and say, I choose to trust you with all my heart. And I have some understanding right now, but I choose not to lean on it. Instead, I choose to acknowledge you in all my ways, Lord. And somehow you're going to get me through this to the right destination. And I felt like I was living that as part of the team and a leader every single day, like every day. Like, oh, you're just going to teach English tomorrow. I'm like, I don't know how to teach English tomorrow, let alone teach the 15-year-olds how to teach English tomorrow. And I'm thinking for myself, I'm like, I'll muddle through it, but I don't want anyone else to have a bad ministry experience. Like, I mean, like all these responsibilities in my mind, or like all of a sudden they're like, I think you should put on a children's program tomorrow. I'm like, I think we should have known about this before we came, so I would have had a children's program ready. But we threw it together and it was amazing. And I'm like, oh, thank you, Lord. Every day was a challenge. Every day I was so grateful that I was like, wow, Lord, you threw us into something where we had to lean on you in a way that we haven't had to lean on you in a while. Daily, moment by moment. And let's just stand up right now. And I'm just going to end with a prayer. What he did in us and what he's doing in the team, that he will do in the whole church. And then also I say, go on a mission trip, guys. It's so great. I hope everyone we go on is as good as this. Lord, we love you. And we say you're worthy of receiving our trust. So we do trust in you with all our heart, and we lean not on our own understanding. In all our ways, we acknowledge you. And we just thank you in advance for directing our steps. And we praise you for everything you did in Thailand. And we just declare the Lord's blessing over every seed sown, every message preached, everything received, every prayer prayed. And we thank you, Lord, that you're faithful to carry those things on and to bring them to completion and fulfillment. Thank you, Lord. Amen.